Okay, now this is matrix P. Okay, now this is matrix P, augmented with the identity 1 0 0 0 1 0 0 0 1. Okay, now we are going to the first column to change number 1 and number 2 to number 0, to replace number 1 and number 2 to the numbers 0. Okay, let me start from row 3. Change number 2 to 0. Row number 3, replace row number 3, and the formula is you start with row number 3 together with row number 1. Okay, since we are in the first column, we use row number 1 as our reference. So what is the formula now? Look at the numbers in row number 3. The number are equal to 2. So write down here 2. Okay, and then row number 1 also equal to 2. So how to get 0? 2 minus 2, the answer will become 0. So the formula is R3 minus R1. Okay, so the formula is for row number 3 minus row number 1. Okay, we only replace for row number 3. Next, for the first and the second column, you keep all together. Just write down again 2 1 1 1 0 0 1 1 1 0 1 0. This is for row number 1 and row number 2. How about row number 3? We replace row number 3 by using this formula. Row 3 minus row number 1. Okay, row 3 from the first column, row 3 are equal to 2, row 1 are equal to 2. When row 3 minus row 1, so the answer is equal to 0. Then next, go to the second column. Row 3 are equal to 2, and then row 1 equal to 1. Row number 3 minus row number 1, the answer is equal to 1. Okay, next we move to the column number 3. 1 minus 1. Okay, become 0. Right? And then next, we are going to the column number 4. 0 minus 1. So the answer is negative 1. 0 minus 0, 0. And 1 minus 0 equal to 1. So we will get new augmented matrix. And we already have 0 for the first column, row number 3. Next, still in the column number 1, we replace row number 2 to become 0. Okay, this is the formula. Replace row number 2 are equal to row 2 together with row number 1. Row number 1 because we are in the first column, so we use row number 1. Okay, what is the formula to determine the numbers? Okay, the coefficient for R1 and R2. Okay, R2, the value here is equal to 1. And then R1, the value is equal to 2. Okay, so now to get the formula, you just going to multiply 2 multiply by R number 2, and then number 1 just multiply by R1. So you get 2R2 and R1. The operation between 2R2 and R1 is just what? Negative, minus 2R2 minus R1. Okay, let me check together. 2R2. Okay, 2R2 Okay, R2 are equal to 1 times by 2. 1 times by 2 are equal to 2, and then minus row number 1. Minus row number 1. So 2 minus 2 become 0. So this is a suitable formula that we can use to replace from 1 to become 0. So 2 row number 2 minus row number 1. We only replace for the second row. For the first row and for the third row, just keep everything. Write down again. 2, 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, negative 1, 0, 1. Okay, how about row number 2? We replace row number 2 by using this formula. 2 times by row 2. 2 times by row number 2, which is number 1. 1 times by 2, 2 minus 2, they are equal to 0. 0. Next, going to the second column. Okay, 2 row 2. So 1 times by 2 minus 1. 1 times by 2 equal to 2 minus 1. So the answer is equal to 1. And then next, going to the third column. 1 times by 2 minus 1. Okay. 1 also. And here, 0 times by 2, which is 0, minus 1. The answer is equal to negative 1. 1 times by 2 equal to 2 minus 0, 2. And here, 0. Okay. We already have for the first column, which is 0, 0. Our goal is to change 0 for this, for first column, change to 0, 0. For the next column, change to 0 for the first row and 0 for the third row. And then after we finish, we are going to the third column. Change the first row to become 0, second row to become 0. Okay, next, we continue to the column number 2. Column number 2, okay, this is first row and the third row. Okay, first we replace row number 1 to become this, to obtain this number to 0. So row 1 star, using back row 1, and then together with row number 2. We are in the second column. Better we use row number 2, the diagonal. Okay, so what is the number now? Row 1 is equal to 1. Row number 2, same number, equal to 1. So in order to get 0, only you just R1, you just subtract from R1 minus R2 in order to get number 0. So 1 minus 1 become 0. So the formula for row number 1 is R1 minus R2. Okay. R1 minus R2. Now, okay, R1 minus R2. We only replace for row number 1, right? So how about row number 2 and row number 3? Just write down again. For row number 2, 0, 1, 1, negative 1, 2, 0. And row number 3, 0, 1, 0, negative 1, 0, 1. So how about the first row here? By using row 1 minus row 2. So row 1 minus row 2, 2 minus 0, number 2, 1 minus 1, 0, 1 minus 1, 0, 2, negative 2, and 0. So this is the answer lah. Okay, next. we are going to replace for the third row. Third row to become number 0. So the formula is row 3 equal to row 3. Start with row 3 together with row number 2. Okay, row 3, the value in row 3, column number 2 are equal to 1. And second row also equal to 1. So in order to get number 0, just row 3 minus row 2. Okay. Then we will get row 3 minus row number 2. So row 3 minus row number 2. Okay. And then write again for first and second row. 2, 0, 0. 2, negative 2 and 0. Then 0, 1, 1, negative 1, 2, 0. Row 3 minus row number 2. So row 3, 0 minus 0, 0. 1 minus 1, 0. Negative 1, 0, negative 2. Okay, now this is matrix P. Our method